Alright, hello once again, Jeff Scott of Rankin Technical College. I've been going over a series of video presentations I'm creating based off the PowerPoint slides for Murox HTML5 and CSS3 4th edition, which is one of the two textbooks used for the Rankin Technical College AWD, or Application and Web Development 1000 Web Development Technologies class. I'm to the last chapter here. So I've done chapters 1 through 8, 9 and 10, 11 to 15. I'm going to do 16 right now, and I've already finished 17 through 20. So this last chapter, as you can see, is on how to use CSS transitions, transforms, animations, and filters. All right, once I finish this, I will start on the next textbook, which is Murox JavaScript and Jquery 3rd edition. All right, so let's get to it. A lot of people like this chapter because, for lack of better words, it's glitzy. It shows some style, some pizzazz, etc. Okay, so we'll talk about how to use transitions, transforms, animations, and filters. Now, much of the stuff that's done in here is very, very simplistic in nature. All right, the properties you use when you work with transition, as it says, the property itself, the duration, the timing, the function, and the delay. All right. So in this particular example, you take your mouse and you put it over this heading, whether it's an H1, doesn't matter, but you're telling it that during that time we want its color to change and we want its size to change. All right. So let's grab what they have here and we'll take a look at it. So I'm just going to remove everything that I had in my body area before. We see how simple this is. It's an H1 tag. So if we save it right now and run, doesn't look like much. Hover over this heading to see its transition. Okay. All right, let's go over to the CSS, which currently is empty. And we'll put all of this in. So let's be, rather than just putting it in, because you already saw what should happen now, but let's talk about what's going to happen. Much of the information that's in here, I'm sure, is, for lack of better words, it just makes sense to you. All right, this says whatever our font size was, we want it to be 120% of that. We want the color on it to be blue, and we want the transition. Notice, over a 2-second, we want this to ease out. All right, so the font size should 2 seconds should ease out for 1 second. The color should ease in. So when we put our mouse on it, it should get from what, instead of 120%, it should be 180%, and it should turn red. And when it does this, it should have an ease in, ease out. What are these things? Ease out means it starts quickly and ends slowly, and ease in means it starts quickly. Wait a minute. Ease out means it starts quickly and it ends slowly, and ease in is the opposite, so it starts slowly and it ends quickly. I believe those are both correct. So let's go back. Okay, no biggie, but notice, well, that didn't work. We got the hover look, but something's missing here. H1 hover, our cursor should have went to a pointer, our font size should have changed, and our color should have changed. I believe that transition is set up okay. The line that must be an error, I would think, is this one right here, but I'm quickly trying to figure out what the error on that could be. Let's go back and look at the book here, or in our PowerPoints. Should have looked like this. Here we're just doing it on a property, and here we're doing it for all properties. I'm going to grab this line here, just that line, and I'm going to come back to what we were just working on, and I'm going to change the transition to this. And see if that makes a difference. Well, that made it worse. You can see our pointer is changing. All right, so I'm going to go back again. Oops. Try to figure out what the problem was. Again, I'm going to give you resources at the end, which are going to help. I'm even going to steal part from a resource. Okay, not sure what the problem is, and I don't want to waste your time. So here's an accordion, as it says. It's created with CSS3 transitions. What's an accordion? You take your mouse and you click on here, and it opens up an area down here which answers your questions. So this is oftentimes used for FAQ pages. Now you can do this using Jquery. All right, we'll learn about that when we get to the other book, but you can also do it just using CSS. So let's see if we can get that to work. What's the old saying? I'm having a lot of luck today, but all of it's bad. So so we're setting this up as a series of H3 and divs, as you can see when you take a look right here. Save that. And for our CSS, hopefully we'll have a little better luck than we did with that transition just a second ago. Okay. Pretty obvious, I think, what's happening here. Only one of these panels is open at one time inside, but you can see what's happening. You can see how you could set something up. They just have content, you know. So if I came through here and changed this to Jquery is a popular JavaScript library, which would make a little more sense. Why is it becoming so popular? Because it provides scores of built-in tested routines anyone can use. Which is harder to learn? Well, Jquery is an extension of JavaScript. It is important to learn JavaScript first. Wish they had done something like that, just because of the fact that by doing that, it's actually answering some questions. All right. So we could go in and we could change all sorts of stuff in here. We could change the coloring. Since this is already, I believe, in a, well, we could put this in a div if it's not. make it look like a box. There's a lot of different things that we could do with it right now. I believe that probably at least makes sense to most people who are watching this. All right, transform, changing the way things look. Notice rotating, etc. All right. And I'm not going to do this. I don't have that picture. I could probably find one, but you can see the effect. All right, kind of a mirrored image, so to speak. So here's some of the different transforms that you can apply. Typically, you would do this for effect. You wouldn't want to do this on every page. It would get very, I'm not going to say boring, I would say sickening very quickly. But you can do this and you can have something, for lack of better words, fade in or fade out as an example to do this. All right. So animation involves movement typically. So here we start right in the middle, or pretty much in the middle, and we move to the end. Okay, let's see if we can get some text to animate. No idea if we can or not. All right, again, this text hopefully will animate. When you work with animations, kind of an important point here, and I'll bring it up as soon as I paste this in. All right, you'll notice we've got our H1, we're telling we want to animate, we want it to move to the right, all right, and we want it to act, again, this won't make a lot of sense until you see it in action, all right, but we want it to ease in over 3 seconds and then ease out over 2 seconds. Again, it'll make sense in a second. But you'll notice that we call this animation. There's nothing special about that word. All right. But since that's the name that it was called, we have to set up for this what's called keyframes. All right. And I shouldn't say that animation. This is the thing. That's the name. So notice that's the name of our keyframes also. And this is telling us what we want it to do. So what we're saying is we want it to move from a margin left at 20% in blue, and we want it to move to a margin left at 60%, all right, and we want that to be red. Now there's just so many ways that you can do things with this. In fact, what I'm going to attempt to do when we get to the end of this is go back to Mr. Traversy's stuff and grab a bit of his code, because I think he does just an excellent job of kind of showing this in action. Well, that was it. There it goes. Well, you see what happens. It's going back and forth. Let me get rid of a couple of these. Not sure exactly why all that was there. Let's save. I hadn't saved. That's the problem. So there it is. Okay, so it turned blue, then it went to red, and you can see how it moved over. It was actually so big that it went off into 2 lines instead of 1. Again, much of this, when you work with it, would be done for effect. The thing that you have to watch out for when you use this, and they're showing in here a lot of different ways this can be used, all right? But when you use this stuff, the key thing is to not overuse it. And I've said this to people before, and most of the time people get it. Sometimes, fortunately, unfortunately, whatever you want to say, they don't, all right? And what I mean by this is people get so enthralled with putting in some animation or whatever that people will come to the site and look at the site and go, is that cool? Oh yeah, what was the site about? I don't know, but it was really cool. Well, why would you do that? Because you've actually, if you do something like that, you've lost a lot of what you're trying to do. All right. Now, in Mr. Traversy's, let's see if I can find that. Yeah, that's going to keep going. in his CSS animation and crash course. Again, a little longer, 36 minutes. But he's got a bunch of, let's see, I'm hoping this is his code. It is not his code. All right. Usually he puts his code at the bottom, but I don't see it down here. Let me show you. Again, I'm not taking credit for this. He should. All right. Here's his stuff, but what I want to show you is what he does at the end here.
Create your website fast.
He's from Boston, so you'll note the accent.
Case H1. And in here, let's.
So here's what he's working
size. 100%. I want it to move down 200 pixels.
Watch
so
what happens.
Top 200 pixels. Whoops. All right. So let's save that. Now it's not going to work yet because we need a duration. So we're going to go up and say animation duration, and let's make this 3 seconds. All right. So if we save that, it's going to come down to 0, like that. Visible, so we can't see it at all.
So he has the title come down. He has the code, the paragraph slide in from the left. And what you'll see at the end is with the button, when you see the whole thing in action in just a minute, it'll hover and it'll twirl.
To rotate Y 180 degrees. All right, let's try it. So we'll save. We have our initial animation, button comes in, if we hover over it, we get the little flip.
So that's just an example, all right? And again, you will have the URL to this. And again, also, I would strongly recommend you look at the CSS transitions, etc. out on W3 Schools. As you can tell, and I'm not making excuses, I'm being honest with you. This is not my strong suit. I'm learning along with you. So with that said, we have now finished chapters 1 through 20 of this book. All right. So I will come back in just a few minutes to start the next book, which is Murox JavaScript and Jquery. So say goodbye to this one. I'm not going to go back over these things because all 20 have been discussed. I'll probably show this one at the beginning of most of my lectures for the JavaScript part, but we're onward and upward to the next book. Be back soon.